Hello, welcome to Chess with Simon. I'm Simon. Okay, pawn to e4, what should we do? Let's play something interesting. Let's play pawn to c5. So I think my opponent may be aiming for d4 here. Well, this looks like it may transpose into an open Sicilian. Indeed it has. So now we can choose which open Sicilian to play. So I'd usually play a6, the Najdorf. I really like to play e6. We can play g6, which is the highly risky dragon variation. Should we play g6? Are we in the mood for that? The thing about playing g6 is you can end up with some games that are truly artistic. This looks like our opponent is heading towards what's called the Yugoslav attack. Now our opponent has omitted f3. Maybe they'll go ahead and play bishop h6, although that looks very... okay, played f3. So our position's beautiful here, right? We're harmonious. It's usual to castle first. Now let's have a think about why. I mean, straight away I want to play h5. But let's have a think about why. Let's have a think about whether we can play something quick. Why do people usually castle first? Because you have to castle anyway. So you may as well get it done before you show your hand, and it's just a transposition. Probably. I would say probably. So in which case we play queen a5. And we play queen a5. I think that's probably right. And if you're going to push, I think that's meant to be a bit slow. We could take the knight and play bishop e6. I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to take the knight and play bishop e6. I think you can even play d5 here, can't you? That's the interesting move. d5. Wow. Yeah, d5. d5. Okay, I just think d5 is correct. You move in the centre. That's the response to the flank attack. King's in the centre. And what's white going to do? Take on d5? We take with the knight. Then it's just absolute crazy. But we can't be in trouble there. I think what will probably happen is... Okay, I just don't buy this. I can't tell you why. I just don't buy it. I think there's a flank attack going on here that just doesn't work. Because we'll have opened the centre. Okay, so what our opponent's doing is just hoping to... I mean, you're going to play bishop h6 and just hope to mate? Because you got to eliminate the knight on f6. And to do that, it's very difficult because the knight's pinned. If you play bishop h6, we could take it. You take with the queen. And then we take the knight on d4. And we say we're a knight up. And there's no, knight d5. Okay, well that's a good move. It's perfectly sensible. I think we're okay here. But I'm a little bit worried about this. Got to make sure they don't take on g6, really. That was an okay move. I mean, we're lining up knight e5 for the future. I think black can hold this, honestly. Of course, I can always mess it up. This is a very aggressive way of playing what is already a very aggressive opening. Okay, so now there's a whole knight free, which I'm going to take. I don't believe this. Oh, because I've got a whole rook free at the back. Alright, fine. Let's defend the rook like this. Pooh! We defend the rook. Yeah, they can take on g6. We'll be okay. If they take on g6, we take on d4. If they take on c6 right now, that's a tricky one. I guess we just take with a pawn. But then if they take on fg, does that mean they're a piece up? Maybe. Not great. I think the knight should take on c6. And then you can't take on someone like f3 because the queen's hanging. It's certainly a sharp position. So takes on c6, pawn takes on g4. There's no knight takes for sure. Okay, so let's hit the bishop. And the real idea, well, the real idea isn't really queen e3 check because it blunders the queen. But so for instance, if the pawn is pushed now, I suppose you've got to play knight h5, don't you? Which isn't always the most fun. Rook takes, pawn takes, you know. There's a pawn push, but you'll probably find a way out of that. Yeah, okay. So, knight here, rook takes, pawn takes. There's a pawn push. Oh. You know, I could have played last move is the bishop check on e3. Might have been better, frankly. Might have been a good move. Because now after rook takes, we can still play the bishop check. Let's do that, because then it stops the pawn push. Wow, at least we did something okay. Or we even have a rook check on g1. Ooh, the mind boggles. I think the mind boggles in a good way, actually. Yeah, that's quite a good rook check. No, it's quite a good rook check. Rook check on g1. King d2. Rook a d8. It's very complicated, but I think you just got to do it. You got a sense where the it's just exciting. There's loads of options because the rooks are on open files. f2 is an exciting square. I suspect that black's going to win after that. So that means that white is in a bit of a hole because that bishop has to move, and there's also the check on e3. It kind of looks like there's also a check on f2. Golly gosh. Chess can turn out well sometimes, can't it? Check on f2 followed by a check on the d file. That looks useful. Our opponent, who's obviously good, has realised that and has decided a castle, which is really intelligent, although it does hang a bishop. Doesn't it? Take the bishop, you take the knight, you take the rook. They push the pawn to g6, you play queen g8. What's wrong with that? Nothing. We're a rook up. We're a rook up. Well, we're an exchange up actually, because we're what are we now? 1, 2 pawns up. We're 2 pawns up. But if you don't take the knight, what's white got? So rook takes knight, pawn takes rook, pawn g6, queen g8. Yeah, okay. Pawn g6, queen g8. Yeah, you're kind of holding. It's not beautiful, but you're holding. I mean, rook g1. Rook g1, queen g7. Wow. I mean, we're threatened to take on g6, right? So we are threatening. Yeah. I got it. Push the queen away. So I think we eagerly take that. And we're not, we're not getting mated straight away. We're not getting mated at all. We're not getting mated straight away. We're going to double rooks on the F file. I'm sort of cheering up a bit here because I think we've got the upper hand here. We've even got a queen check on h6. What's the material? We've got 2 pawns and an exchange. So our opponent's going to have to come up. And our pieces are sort of clustered around our king, and our opponent's got 2 minutes left. Okay, so don't you want to play rook f1 check? I think you do. You could put the queen in the way, but it's not really helping that much. Okay, that was... Good job building a lead and never letting go. It didn't feel like that. It felt like a hard game. Chess is a complicated and hard game. So actually, the bit I was interested in already was this. Yeah, this is not book. And I made a bad move. Let's see what the engine wants here. D5. Yeah, D5 straight away. Love it. Totally get it. We caught onto the D5 idea. Okay, 1 move later. But would have been better earlier. And then our opponent's just going for it. Okay, HG6. The instinct is always to play the F pawn in these positions, but because it's wrong because of this bishop check. This was good. Okay, so we all played some good moves here. So queen b4 is better, is it? Okay, because why? It hits the pawn, I guess. Knight takes e4 was best, trying to eliminate that knight. Yeah, I can see all hell's going to break loose there. Knight h5 is good. This was good. This was bad. This was great. This was good enough. Rook f7. Rook f7? Who plays rook f7 there? You can take the rook when they take on f7, but still. Queen takes h5. This is good. Queen e5 was good there. Wow, that shows out what bad shape our opponent's in, because Queen e5 is not good. I mean, I was probably gone by the look of it, but Queen e5 is just, you wouldn't play that, would you? Hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. See you soon.